Hello kids, welcome back. Today we are going to a far place from here, which is too high. Even you need to carry oxygen cylinders to some places. So grab your jackets, take your textbook and let's begin our journey. So children, in the last class we discussed about the 6 physical divisions of India based on the different landforms in our country. So we are going to learn all these physical divisions in each chapter in very detail. So let's begin with northern mountains. The first physical division we discussed is about northern mountains. So in this chapter we are going to learn about the northern mountains and the Himalayas, about the climate, natural vegetations and wildlife of the northern mountains, and also the importance of the northern mountains for our country. Let's begin with mountain. What do you mean by a mountain? Mountains are areas of land that have risen high above the surrounding areas. Temperature falls with increase in height. Therefore, mountains remain a cool climate. In case of very high mountains, peaks remain covered with snow around the year. What do you mean by a peak? The tip of the mountain. It's called as a peak. The northern boundary of our country is covered by mountains. They are known as northern mountains. Look here children, the northern boundary of our country is covered by mountains. These mountains are called as northern mountains. In this northern mountains, they include the Himalayas, Karakoram range and northeastern hill ranges or Purvanchal hill ranges. Here, Karakoram range, Himalayas, then this side Purvanchal hill ranges. The Himalayas is a majestic mountain range and one of the youngest mountain ranges which has formed few million years back if we are comparing with the other mountain ranges around the world. So, our Himalayas, it is the highest and one of the longest mountain ranges in the world. It extends for about 2,400 kilometers from east to west, and its width varies from 400 kilometers in Kashmir to 150 kilometers in the northeast. In India, the mountains stretches in a curve from Jammu and Kashmir in the west to Arunachal Pradesh in the east. Here you look children, this is a curve, you can see the curve, thus separating India and China through a natural boundary. It's acting like a natural boundary. Some of the highest peaks in the world are in Himalayas. Mount Everest is the highest peak which is located in Nepal. Second comes Mount K2 or Mount Godwin Austen in Pakistan. And third is Kanchenjunga. Height is 8,586 meters, located in India. According to Hindu mythology, Himalayas are the holiest place on the earth, also known as the home of gods. Some of pilgrimage towns such as Haridwar, Rishikesh and other places are located here. Do you know children, northern mountains play a major role on the climate of our country. How? They block and act as a barrier for monsoon winds. This causes heavy rainfall in some regions located in this northern mountain and also to the further part. In wildlife in Himalayas, let's talk about that. These mountain ranges provide home to many endangered species such as snow leopard, wild yak, Himalayan goat, musk deer, etc. And It is a home for a wide variety of flora. Do you know, children, the word Himalayas means abode of snow. When you look at the Himalayas, horizontally from north to east, you will notice that they are divided into 3 rows of mountains that run alongside each other. 3 rows of mountains that runs alongside each other. At the top close to the China border are the greater Himalayas called Himadri. So, the first set of mountain called as Himadri, and this is the highest range in the Himalayas. Next to the greater Himalayas, the middle or lesser Himalayas called Himachal lies to the south of Himadri. And then the outer Himalayas or the southernmost range of the Himalayas are known as the Shivaliks. This range of Himalaya is known as Shivalik, named after Lord Shiva. The average height here is less than 1200 meters. So dear children, let us start with first range of mountains, the greater Himalayas or Himadri. The greater Himalayas or Himadri is the northernmost and the highest range of Himalayas, and also the highest mountain range in the world. So the greater Himalayas are the highest mountain range in the world. They form the backbone of the Himalayas. So this greater Himalayas form the backbone of the Himalayas. The peaks, I told you, the tip of the mountain. The tip of the mountain are permanently covered with snow. Over the years, snow has been collecting on these mountains to form thick sheet of ice and snow called what? Glaciers. What they are called? Glaciers. So they look like rivers of snow. The lower portions of these glaciers melt in the heat to form water. This water from glaciers flows down the mountain to form rivers. Many important rivers such as Ganga, Indus and Brahmaputra originate from these glaciers. In Hindu mythology, the river Ganga, considered as a Tirtha, which means a crossing point between heaven and earth. Do you know the story behind the origin of Ganga? In Hindu mythology, the Ganges river was created when Lord Vishnu, in his incarnation as the dove Brahmin, he took 2 steps to cross the universe. On the second step, Vishnu's big toe accidentally created a hole in the wall of the universe. Through it spilled some of the waters of river Mandakini. Meanwhile, a great king Bhagiratha was concerned that ancestors had been incarnated from the stair of the sage Kapila. Wanting these ancestors to reach heaven, Bhagiratha asked Kapila how this might be achieved. The response was to pray earnestly to Lord Vishnu. The great god, gratified by Bhagiratha's prayer, agreed for Ganga to descend to earth, where she might wash over the ashes of the ancestors and purify them and permit them to ascend to heaven. But there was a problem. If Ganga merely dropped from heaven, her water currents would bring damage to earth. So, therefore, Lord Shiva offered to gently lower the goddess in his hair, which he did rather cautiously, taking 1,000 years. Safely arrived on earth, Bhagiratha guided Ganga across India, where she split into many subsidiaries as Yamuna and successfully washed the ashes of his ancestors and in her sacred water. So, this is the story about river Ganga. Kanchenjunga, Nanda Devi and Nanga Parbat are the highest peaks of the greater Himalayas. Children, do you know the Sishan Glacier is located in Karakoram region and is the highest battlefield on earth, standing at a height of over 6,000 meters. Soldiers of both Indian and Pakistani armies guard their borders here. The region in the greater Himalayas, the temperature remains very low throughout the year. During winter, the temperature drops below freezing point and cultivation is not possible at such a height, is it? Thus, this area is not fit for human settlement. Here, but we can tell there is a scattered vegetation in greater Himalayas such as shrubs, mosses, lichens, wildflowers like blue poppies and edelweiss. Now, after Himadri, let's discuss about the middle or lesser Himalayan ranges. So, this Himalayan range lies between the Himadri and the Shivalik ranges. So, it is like in the middle. The mountains here are not as high and the temperature are not as low as in the Himadri range. Some of the ranges' peaks are still covered with snow. These mountain slopes are covered by dense evergreen forest of pine, oak, fir, etc. and also with the fertile valleys. Do you know what is an evergreen forest? Coniferous trees. Example, pine, oak, fir. So, these mountain slopes are covered by the dense evergreen forest of pine, oak and fir. So, what is a valley? A valley is a low-lying area between two hills or mountains. Now, let's talk about the temperature. The middle Himalayas have a summer temperature of 17 degrees Celsius. This range has cold winter and mild summers. Children, have you heard the word terrace farming? Terrace farming means the farming practiced on slopes that have been cut into steps in the mountain slopes. The hill slopes are used for practicing terrace farming. We can see fruits orchards of apples, plums, pear, cherries and almonds, and tea plantation are present in this region. Therefore, unlike the greater Himalayas, the lesser Himalayas are well populated. And also, many famous valleys like valleys of Kulu, Kangra and Kashmir, and the hill stations like Mussoorie, Shimla, Nainital and Darjeeling are located in this region. Have you ever been to any of these places? Let's talk about the wildlife. Middle Himalayan ranges have wild yak, tigers, snow leopards, red panda, one-horned rhinoceros, musk deer, etc. seen in this region. So, this is about the middle Himalayan range. Now, let's discuss about the lower Himalayas, the third range. The lower Himalayas, that's the next. The lower Himalayas, the Shivaliks, is the southernmost belt of the Himalayan range. Shivaliks are also the lowest and narrowest range and the lowest range of the Himalayas. Shivaliks is also known for the presence of special scenic valleys called duns. Debra Dun, Kotri Dun are some of the well-known duns. Duns mean valleys only. The hill is in this region are covered with dense rainforest and inhabited by rich wildlife. The forests in the outer Himalayan range have hyenas, jackals, elephants and also Bengal tigers. The Shivaliks or lower Himalayas are not very cold but receive heavy rainfall. The vegetation of this region consists of trees like kikar, sal, teak and babool. In North India, this range marks the end of mountains and the beginning of plains. In between the outer Himalayan foothills and the beginning of the plains lies the Terrace region, which is a dense marshy land with fertile soil to grow crops like rice, potato, wheat, sugarcane and maize. All these are cultivated here. Now let's discuss about the mountain passes in the Himalayas. Passes, what is the meaning of pass? It's a passage to go from one place to another place. So a route, we can talk about the route. A route through a mountain range is called a mountain pass. A route to travel through a mountain range is called a mountain pass. The mountain pass is a route which we can use to travel through a mountain range. On mountains, we can't construct any wide roads. Here we can construct, but in mountain ranges we can't construct any wide roads. So this pass, this route, it will be a small and narrow one, and also with so many hairpin bends. These passes or these passages had played a key role in trade, war and both human and animal migration throughout Earth history. At lower elevation, it may be called a hill pass. When it comes to the lower mountains or hills, it called as hill pass. So there are many mountain passes or routes in the Himalayas. People use these routes or passes to cross Himalayas, to travel from one mountain to another. Some of the important passes are Sojila, Kardangla, Shangla, Barlachala, Shipkila, Rotang Pass, Nathula. The word La means pass or route or the road. Children, do you know the highest motorable road in the world is at Kardangla at a height of 5,359 meters. So this is all about the mountain passes or mountain passages. Now let's discuss about the Karakoram mountain ranges and Purvanchal hill ranges. First of all, what do you mean by a mountain range or a hill range? It is a series of mountains or hills arranged in a line and connected by high ground. So Karakoram mountain range. Karakoram mountain range lie to the northwest of Himalayas here. It includes many of the world's highest peaks and many of the world's longest glaciers. The Indus River, also called as Sindhu, is one of the longest river in Asia. It flows through China, in India, Leh and Pakistan to Pakistan. Mount Godwin Austen or Mount K2. The second highest peak in the world is in Karakoram mountain range. Do you know Jammu and Kashmir, here Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh lie in this mountain range. After this we are going to discuss about the Purvanchal hill ranges. Purvanchal mountains or eastern mountains comes under here. Eastern mountains are a sub-mountain range of the Himalayas lie to the northeast India. Northeast India, there are 7 sisters are there. Do you remember? These hill ranges are not very high. They are covered with thick forest and are rich in wildlife. Let's see what all are the northeastern states these hill ranges cover. These hill ranges cover the northeastern states of Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura and also Meghalaya. This side it will come. Okay, the Purvanchal comes under this side. After this, let's discuss about the importance of northern mountains. The Himalayas acted as a natural barrier against foreign invaders in the past. Historically, it has prevented unfriendly arrivals and attacks from the other side of the mountains. So, it acted as a natural barrier and protect us from the foreign people, foreign invaders. Now it forms a natural boundary between India and China. It forms a natural boundary between India and China. And next important thing, Indian climate is influenced by the Himalayas. How it protects our country from cold wind of north and it prevents the rain bearing winds from leaving the country. This results in the heavy rainfall in India. So that's why we people are getting rainfalls. The melting snow of Himalayas, the next important thing, the melting snow of Himalayas gives rise to some major rivers like Ganga, Indus and Brahmaputra. These rivers are called perennial rivers. Why? Because they have water throughout the year. They have water throughout entire year. Now the next important thing, these river water help us to generate electricity. That is also important thing by constructing dams on them. Then next, many valuable products like timber, resins, medicines, etc. are obtained from the forest in this mountain range and also sustains a very rich variety of plants and animals which is not seen in other parts of the world. The forests of Greater Himalayas are home to many rare species. Animals such as yaks, wild yak, snow leopards, I told you, musk deer and wild sheep. Do you know there is in a national park, Cobalt National Park, situated in the foothills of the Himalayas. This is the oldest national park in India. This park is the most importantly known for protecting endangered species in India. Endangered species, do you remember in 3rd grade we had studied this in EVS. Who's the animals which are going to extinct because of the climatic changes. So they can't adapt now. So that type of endangered species. So these are the few important points about the importance of Himalayas. So let's do a recap of this lesson. The northern mountains include Karakoram range and Purvanchal hill ranges. What is the meaning of Himalaya? The meaning of Himalaya, abode of snow. So the Himalayas consist of how many parallel ranges? 3 parallel ranges. What are they? The Greater Himalayas called as Himadri, Middle Himalayas called Himachal and the third one Outer Himalayas or Shivaliks. Then Mount Everest is in Greater Himalayas. We can see many valleys like Nainital, Kulu, etc., which attracts many tourists to visit from all around the world. So these all are here in northern mountain. The southernmost range of Himalayas is Shivalik. So what type of farming is happening there? Terrace farming is done in the slope of the hill. Many mountain paths are there in Himalayas, the routes. Pass means what? It is a small and narrow passage people use to travel. Now, at last we discussed about the importance of Himalayas, is it? The Himalayas protect our borders and playing a major role in maintaining climate and weather in India. So, these are the few important points about Himalayas. Children, we finished this chapter. You need to read the lesson, do the textbook exercises and find the answers for the question answers. And see you in the next class. Take care. Bye.